What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're tackling career mode for the Malaysian Grand Prix, round number 15 of Season 1 of F1 2017 career mode. As you can see, we're sliding in the standings, but hopefully we can mount a comeback towards the top 10 in this episode today. I believe we might have potentially got a power unit upgrade for this episode. I'm not entirely sure, but as we head into practice today, we're managing the power units quite strictly. We're kind of getting to an interesting point where we can possibly make it to the end of the season without taking any extra power units, and I'm just trying to manage that very, very carefully. Gearbox is pretty line ball as well. If we can get through this race today, and get through possibly Japan as well, we might make it to the rest of the season as well, with the remaining gearbox that we have. So yeah, we went through Friday practice, smashed all of the practice programs, got perfect with everything pretty much except for qualifying pace. But yeah, more crucial points gained. We're working towards the power unit upgrades, which will hopefully be coming in the next episode. And yeah, things are starting to look good. But we're skipping entirely over practice today. You guys know the drill. But now it's time for quali.
Sit back and put your feet up as we head into qualifying here in Kuala Lumpur. Over the next few minutes, we'll find out who's got pace in the car and who hasn't.
So it's a tasty prospect here in Malaysia with a wet qualifying. Hopefully we can spring a surprise or two in this session. So we're going to go straight out on the intermediate tyres. Funnily enough, it said that the weather forecast was heavy rain, but the game gave me intermediate tyres. So we are going to learn from the lesson that we were given in Singapore and just go out on the inters like everyone else, and it looks like it's working well so far. P12 at the moment, just behind our teammate Alonso. We're ahead of both of the Saubers, and as the stint wears on, we're getting quicker and quicker, and just that much more comfortable with the car and the conditions at the moment. But 3 minutes to go. We're kind of running low on fuel. This might potentially be our last lap of the session, and we're looking pretty good. 5/10 up as we go through the final corner. We might even gain even more time on the run up to the line. Our previous lap wasn't the greatest, got a really bad run out of the final corner, but this time it's much cleaner, and we go P10. P10 with 2 minutes to go. Unfortunately, we don't have any more fuel to carry on with the qualifying lap, so that was managed a little bit poorly by me. I actually didn't think the track would improve. I thought it was going to get worse and worse, and I felt like I had pace, whereas the AI didn't. In all honesty, I thought the track was getting worse, but we managed to improve, and we ended up in what was 10th place at the end of the session. Why are we 16th? Why are we 16th? That's a joke. That is honestly a joke. You know what? I did the fast lap near the end of the session, and because I ran out of fuel, I was just coasting back to the finish, and the session was essentially over. No one improved their time over the course of like the 2 minutes it took me to limp back to the pits. But somehow, we dropped from P10 to 16th place, even though the track probably wasn't at its best anymore. What an absolute joke that was, and Alonso got P11, by the way. One of the Saubers jumped us as well. I think it was Ericsson, and like 3 or 4 people didn't even qualify. So could you imagine the grid position we would have got if those other people qualified? That is outrageous. I really feel like we were robbed there of a top 10 finish in qualifying. It's an absolute joke. But somehow we still managed to pass the objective set by the team, so I mean that's a positive. But hopefully a lot of people have grid penalties as we chuck on a fairly new engine. I'm hoping we can be pretty much on the pace when we get to the race for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, it's not in wet, it's going to be dry.
And alongside me today to talk you through all that is Anthony Davidson. And welcome again. It's good to be back in Kuala Lumpur, isn't it? A lovely country, Malaysia, lovely circuit, and a race that tends to be quite hard to predict.
Yeah, it does indeed. There are a lot of high-energy corners that make the rear tyres suffer around here. Coupled with the excessive heat, that makes it difficult to keep your tyres in the right operating window. And of course, in previous years, we've come here very early in the season, which throws a potential reliability variable in there as well.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Here we are at the Malaysian Grand Prix. Today we'll be starting in 15th place after someone, I believe, got a grid drop. Now, when I was on the grid here doing the formation lap, I noticed that I couldn't hear my engine, which was a bit of an issue, considering that is a very vital part to extracting the most out of the car. So I thought to get rid of the glitch, I thought I'd skip the formation lap, and sure enough, it worked. So here we go, straight into the Malaysian Grand Prix, 5 red lights, and we are underway for the start of the race. It must be said though, it was a nice start off the line. Unfortunately, we don't have the straight line speed to back it up as we get mugged left, right, and centre. Heading into turn 1 here at Malaysia, that's Hulkenberg really diving up the inside of a lot of cars, taking the initiative at the start of this Grand Prix. He gets alongside Ricardo, and he might actually get the move done there. So yeah, it's P12 for the moment, a net gain of 3 positions, I believe. So not too bad. We'll definitely take that, and hopefully we can follow Bottas through the field. That Mercedes is a lot quicker than 11th place and what it's showing at the moment. So because of the free reign of tyre selection for the start of this race, oh no, we're going 3 wide. Why are we talking about strategy? Let's get back to the action. We're back into P11 as we went up the inside of Valtteri Bottas. Grosjean forced my hand there. I had to counter-attack his move by going up the inside of Bottas, and sure enough it worked, but to no avail though. Bottas with that OP slipstream, not OP slipstream, OP straight line speed, smashes right past us as if it's Monza. I mean, how depressing was the speed of the Mercedes today in the real life Grand Prix. But either way, Grosjean flies past us as well in a straight line. We run Rich to try and defend against him. We're going to try and go around the outside now into the first corner. Every position here is crucial, especially at the start of the race. If you can hold track position, normally once we get into our groove, get a rhythm of things, we seem to do quite well once we're settled into races. But unfortunately, I didn't realize until like a couple laps into this race that I was massively overfueled by 6 laps to be exact, and that is why we're not only slow in a straight line, slow in the corners. We are just driving like a bit of a boat at the moment. The car was so heavy and it was not the best feeling car, it must be said. So I was just, you know, doing the best I could. Lewis Hamilton is out of the Grand Prix, possibly an engine failure. He's pulled off to the side. Malaysia and Lewis Hamilton, they just don't seem to agree in the recent past. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm trying to burn as much fuel as I can. I'm running rich absolutely everywhere. I might even struggle to, you know, burn off that fuel by the end of the race. The MGUK is definitely going to get a workout. That's the component of the engine that handles the rich mixture. And yeah, if we're running the whole race in rich, that MGUK is going to be absolutely toast by the end. We have another yellow flag here on lap 6. Sergio Perez is out of the Grand Prix. Was it Sergio? I'm not entirely sure. I think he might have just disappeared off the map before we even got close to him. But either way, it's P12. Fortunate enough for us that we continue to find positions due to people retiring. There's Esteban Ocon forcing us off the track like we're Sergio Perez or something. This car is definitely not pink, so I don't know why you're being as forceful with me as you are. I think it's pretty easy to overtake a McLaren Honda. But lap 8 here, we're into the pits and being very aggressive on the strategy. We actually are taking quite a normal strategy for once. You know, I feel like we've been too bold and too daring in the past, and it's just, you know, cost us time and positions. Today we're just going to go for something quite normal, something quite baseline, and see how that goes. We got the preference of pit stops over Fernando Alonso. He'll be coming in on the next lap, and we're on the exact same strategy, I believe, as well. So back onto the supers. We'll be doing another 8 laps on these, and then finishing on the soft compound tyre. I did debate whether I should go onto the softs for the next stint, but I thought, nah, the fastest way is to get on the supers, and this is our best chance to defend against cars. And even still with a faster tyre, we can't really hold on to track position all too well. But it will come back to us later as we get the undercut on a lot of guys in the midfield. And hopefully with that track position, we can defend heading towards the second half of the race. Alonso rejoins the track. Looks like he's going to be a few seconds behind us as well. So overall, we're looking alright. We're looking on target to beat our teammate Fernando, but unfortunately it looks like he's got pretty decent pace. It must be said as well, I still haven't burned off a lot of my fuel. We're still plus 3 laps. So that makes a considerable difference. That's a decent few kilos and at least a few tenths we're giving away per lap, and I feel like that might be the difference between myself and my teammate Speaking of which, he's getting attacked by Jolyon Palmer. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1, just about. We managed to emerge on top. Alonso has the inside for the next left-hander, and hopefully he can hold on to the position. The 2 McLaren Hondas ganging up on the Renault. Unfortunately, Jolyon comes through with the goods there and moves into P15 at the halfway point of this Grand Prix. So I'm pushing on, I'm trucking along as best I can. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough as Jolyon tries to hang it around the outside. We go in as deep as we dare into the final corner, a little bit too deep. Jolyon gets the switchback and takes the spots off of both of us. So yeah, a bit frustrating. I mean, like, what can you do? It is a Renault. It is a solid bit faster than us in the Grand Prix. We move up to P14 as someone else makes their stop, and even Alonso wants a slice of the action as he goes up the inside into the first corner. It's always a bit interesting when you see teammates going side by side in Malaysia. I always get flashbacks to Red Bull 2013. Hashtag Multi21, but thankfully enough we managed to emerge on top, and yeah, the lead of the 2 McLaren drivers. This is just awesome stuff. We made contact there at the exit of the left-hander, and we just emerged in front of Fernando there. How long are we going to stay in front though? That is the question. Hopefully if we can make it to the second pit stop, get on the tyres, put in a blistering outlap. Safety car has been deployed. Okay. Oh dear.
There's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan or try the new one?
Okay then, well this has completely changed the game. I was talking about possibly rejoining, in front of Fernando after the pit stops, and if I could do that, then that would have changed the game. We would have been, in the box seat to finish in front of it. But now this safety car has completely blown this race wide open. We're going to dive into the pits and put on the soft compound tyres to run to the end. Unfortunately for Fernando, being the second car, he didn't want to stack, so he's carried on for an extra lap. And I don't think that was the right thing to do, in all honesty. He's going to, well, if he does pit during this safety car period, he's going to be the last out of everyone once we go back to green flag running. Or even if he pits under safety car, he's going to be in the back. So either way, it's a lose-lose scenario for Fernando. Myself and Jolyon are pushing on very hard in order to get back to the lead queue, which I think we might be able to do. The leaders weren't too far away in this Malaysian Grand Prix, which is quite encouraging. Maybe we've made some progress in our race pace, but just checking up on the power unit, everything seems to be fine. The worst component is the energy store, but in my opinion, that's the least important component, as that is that's the thing that gives you lean mix. But we get ready to join the action now, lap 20. Unfortunately, I jumped the gun there on Jolyon, and now I'm under pressure from Marcus Ericsson, who overtakes me up the inside. 3 wide through the final corner as we restart this race for the Malaysian Grand Prix. 8 laps to go, and this is well and truly on for a charge into the points. There are a lot of cars in front of me who haven't made a pit stop, so this could be on for young and old here as we head into turn 1. Basically had to block off the Renault of Jolyon Palmer, who was on the mediums and completely irrelevant to me at this point. His pace is going to be terrible, so it was very important to keep him behind so that we could progress further in this Grand Prix. Man, I'm excited now that we're in a chance of getting some points. Next up is Wehrlein on the medium tyres. Sauber, medium tyres. He's absolutely dead slow. We get up the inside and into 14th place. Next up is Alonso. We know he hasn't stopped yet, so that's going to be 13th place for us. There's a couple cars up the road as well who haven't stopped, and that might be 10th place. It is 10th place. Oh, thank goodness. It's looking good finally for McLaren Honda. 6 laps to go in this Malaysian Grand Prix, and all we've got to do is hold on. Actually, no, we don't. Oh, wow, that's Hulkenberg. He's out, spun out at the hairpin, and P9. So that's going to be 2 points for our championship today. One of the best finishes of the season, if you exclude Spain. I think 9th is our best result. But yeah, either way, we just got to press on. 4 laps to go. Kimi Räikkönen sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and if that is correct, he's behind us and on a charge to get back inside the points. All he's got in front of him is the 2 Saubers and one of the Renaults. But as he comes through the final corner, he has major issues, and he is essentially out of the race. That was absolutely perfect timing. To be honest, I was absolutely crapping myself. I thought Raikkonen's going to get these guys in about 2 corners. But no, he had the retirement, and he is a lap down essentially within about 2 minutes. There we go, overtaking him as he limps back to the pit lane. Whatever issue it was really a major setback as he couldn't accelerate more than 10 miles an hour. But with a couple laps to go, Pascal Wehrlein in the Sauber is holding down a spot inside the top 10, and if he can do it, that's going to be his first point of the season. We'll get him in front of his teammate, and would also get him in front of Fernando Alonso, so this means a lot for his championship standing. Unfortunately, he's getting attacked by Jolyon Palmer on the last lap, or the penultimate lap, and now he's out of the points, and I think Bottas might get him as well on the run to the finish. It's the last lap now. Max Verstappen has won the Grand Prix, and now Jolyon Palmer, who had points, now has lost them. Valtteri Bottas is in 10th place at the final corner, but for us though, it's no heartbreak. It's 9th place and 2 points for the championship. Thank goodness.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And I can see now the drivers are making their way out. We need Red Bull fighting at the front. They do an incredible amount for Formula One, and that's another winner's trophy heading back to Milton Keynes.
That was an absolutely mad race. Max Verstappen, out of all people, wins that Grand Prix. The safety car really screwed up the strategy for a lot of guys. Sebastian Vettel 3-stopping, I think he had that race in the bag. Mercedes went nowhere. Bottas was the best of those two guys. I think Lewis Hamilton got the retirement. Daniel Ricciardo retired as well. Kevin Magnussen didn't make it to the end. And we had Kimi Räikkönen with that weird failure with a few laps to go, really setting him back as well. So we made the most of the opportunity. 2 points for the championship. Unfortunately for Pascal Wehrlein, former teammate, no points for him. It's 12th place and back to the drawing board for the Saubers. But yeah, really glad to get back in the points. We had a massive form slump halfway through the season, and to get that kind of monkey off our back now really does ease the pressure. Not only in the driver's standings, but also just within our reputation within the team. I've been trying so hard these last few races to try and get towards that first team driver status, and I think today is going to be a massive step for us. Unfortunately, no change really in the drivers or the constructors. It looks like we've pretty much nailed down 9th place in the constructors. No way Sauber can catch us, and at this point with the development, I don't think we can really match up to the teams ahead of us. Fernando just isn't putting in the performances when it counts. So that has been the Grand Prix for today. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash your like button for finally some points in this McLaren Honda. In the next episode, we'll be doing another upgrade to the powertrain for the Japanese Grand Prix, I believe it is. So it could be a pretty positive episode, especially if the upgrade does go to plan. Now, in terms of the power units, we're pretty line ball, like I said at the start of the episode, as to whether we can make it to the end on the current engines we have. Fingers crossed we can do that. We may need to take a gearbox penalty at some point, possibly in the next episode. We are nearing the 49-50% mark in terms of the gearbox, and that's when you start to get issues with missing gears and all that kind of stuff. But I'm really looking forward to the end of the season now. Hopefully there's a boost to our performance with the car updates that come through with Codemasters, and hopefully as well we can have a massive boost of resource points, because I've heard if you do well in your season, you get a massive bank of points either at the end of the season or the start of the new one. So I'm really looking forward to progressing this car even further. But that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new. There's plenty more F1 2017 videos, and until the next race, the Japanese Grand Prix, I'll see you next time.